What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode number 87 today of the My Player Career Mode. And just before we jump into this episode, I wanted to say, if you didn't watch episode 1 or episode 2 of our new story series here on YouTube, they went live literally, 3-4 days ago now? It is basically a My Player Career Mode, but a full story instead of just the Player Career Mode aspect. So if you do want to check that out, it's Ji Sheng's journey. It will be on the channel. There's episode 1 and episode 2 out. I do recommend that if you haven't already seen it, you watch it because that series is about to blow up. We have so much good stuff coming in the story series with Ji Sheng. So if you haven't already watched it, please check it out. I mean, you might like it, you might not, but at least you will never know unless you do check it out. But today's episode of the My Player Career Mode, we have 5 games to come, all featuring Ben Wood. And let's just say, some of them are more important than others. And I have to say as well, some of these games are absolute crackers. This first game against Wales is one of those cracking games you're likely to see. Of course, Wales against England, we've seen it a few times. We know that both of these nations want to have the bragging rights. And arguably, you could say that it's fairly even between the two sides at the moment in terms of how they are performing. England not really doing the best after being knocked out of the World Cup just gone. And that is the Wales side that they will face on this particular day. But going into this game, actually, every single team, barring one, were on 4 points in this 6-team group, which is just crazy. Every team at the moment have the same record, barring a team who are in 6th place, who are on 3 points. So pretty close at this stage of the European Championship qualifiers. But this game was shaping up to be a cracker. 5 minutes in, Ben's initial effort striking off the post, it was looking like it was going to be set up for a fantastic afternoon. And when Ben ghosted into the area, drives it across the face of goal, we see him do that so many times. We know he loves to get to the byline and drive it across. Raheem Sterling was at the back stick to give England the lead inside the 25th minute. So England with the opener in this one, but surely that will not be where the chances end. By the way as well, if I do sound a little bit different than usual, I am getting a little bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit kind of bunged up at the moment. But hopefully the commentary will still be as good as it should usually be. But there you go, Raheem Sterling with the first goal of this game. Wales not being able to defend against that bed one run that he likes to do towards the byline. They were unable to defend it at that occasion. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it after that. But to credit Wales, they then just started to get themselves into this game. 27 minutes in, Ben Woodburn finding the ball, gave it to Gareth Bale, who is arguably their danger man, on a right-footed shot coming back off of the woodwork. Would have tied the game up, but unfortunately, we had the post to rely on. And we continue into the second half, where again, they continued the pressure, did Wales, looking for that equaliser. Lawrence, the latest one, going close. And once again, Wales denied by the woodwork. Not quite sure how on earth they managed to do it twice within the same game. But then after that, it was a very hotly contested midfield battle. It was tough to get chances for either side. Both teams then kind of got a little bit sloppy, giving the ball away in certain areas they shouldn't have done. And in the end, England coming away with a very slender 1-0 victory. On another day, Wales would have scored their 2 chances that came back off the post, and this one might have been different. But it didn't matter because England did get the 3 points. So in terms of the European Championship qualifiers, it will be great to see Wales and England get through. I'm sure I've said that in the World Cup group. Did we have them in our World Cup group, actually? Or is it Scotland? It might have been Scotland, actually, that we had in our World Cup group. But for sure, they are the kind of closest nation in terms of that one within our group. Of course, Wales, Scotland, and maybe, Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland will be the 2 teams as well that I'd be looking at, saying that I'd be supporting if England were knocked out. So that's kind of, it's nice to see that England will be able to get the win against them, but still, we want to see Wales get out of the group as well. We want to see them become the European champion, or get into the European Championships along with England as well. So hopefully that defeat doesn't kind of cost them too much. It's still early doors yet. That's only the 3rd or 4th game of the group stage. It's pretty much anybody's game at this point. Now, moving into, though, some Manchester United action. West Ham at the London Stadium. It's been a fantastic start to this season for Man United. After losing the league last year by a single point, as you know, there was arguably cases to whether or not Ben was going to stay at the club. He decided he had a little bit of unfinished business. Plus, nobody could really afford his transfer fee as well. In which case, he decided that it was probably best for him to stay at United for another season, along with me kind of deciding that as well. But in the end, I can't really do much unless there's an offer that actually comes in for him. So It's not been a bad start to this Premier League campaign. 6 wins from their opening 7 games, drawing 1 as well. Still undefeated at the moment. United look, I would say, the best side in the league in terms of consistency. Because last year they lacked the consistency to be able to take the league. And so did Chelsea in many ways. They dropped points against teams they just shouldn't have done. Whereas this season, United have continued their form. Chelsea dropped off a little bit. Chelsea not as good as they were at the back end of last year. So it's interesting to see that anyways. But this game against West Ham was so tough. And it took 75 minutes for the first breakthrough to appear. And out of all the players on the pitch, it was Regan Poole for Manchester United who gave them the opening goal. I was left frustrated in the first half. United not playing well in this game by any stretch of the imagination. I used to say all the time when I was a kid, I used to hear all the time anyways, that the best sides will always get the results even when they're playing badly. This could be a case for United, because that first half of football didn't even want to show you it. That's how bad it was. And then we got into the second, managed to take the lead with Regan Poole, but then he got better for United because, again, Ben doing what he loves to do, getting towards that left-hand side, driving the ball across, and in this time it is not Raheem Sterling because he's not a Man United player. It is Gelson Martins there to give us a second goal. I realise as well that I'm probably saying Gelson Martins wrong. Is it Gelson Martins or something like that? Or I just probably butcher every name. I swear. I always try and pronounce a name and I just continuously butcher every single name that I come across, which I'm unsure about. It's one of my traits, I guess you could say, in the game. But in general, I'm pretty decent normally with names, but when it comes to actually doing it for a series, I normally get it wrong, and I get in a lot of tongue twisters sometimes as well. But regardless, without sounding too harsh on United, it was a professional performance, but it was one that maybe we'd have to just forget about, because if you look at that match facts, pretty much summed up the game. It's not like United dominated that one. So the 2-0 scoreline that West Ham lost by was a very unfortunate scoreline. If you were to look at that game and not see the match facts and not think and actually watch the game, you'd have thought United dominated that one. Wasn't the case. United had 4 shots, 2 on target, scored 2. West Ham had 4, 3 on target and didn't score. So on another day, that one could have gone a lot differently. Very much like the first game against Wales, which is kind of weird because it seems to be the case at the moment. A few lucky performances here and there. But regardless, that puts now United on 7 wins, 1 draw from their opening 8 games. They are unbeaten at the top of the table. Chelsea at this point have already lost. And not too great when you're trying to defend your title against somebody that took you right until a single point last season. It looks like United might be running away with this one. But remember, we did see this last season as well. When Ben came to United, there was that little bit of me that thought it was going to be really easy, simple. In the end, it just didn't pan out that way. They still got the double with the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, but it's not the 2 that we wanted to win. We wanted the Premier League and the Champions League. They were the ones that we wanted. Speaking of the Champions League, we're back into some Champions League action. Dortmund against Man United, the 2 teams at the top at the moment, first and second, taking each other on. Dortmund winning their opening 2 games against Moscow. And who were the other team? I'm going to forget it off the top of my head because I can't remember off the top of my head. It literally popped up a second ago, and I've already forgot it. Man, it's not a good day for me. But regardless, Dortmund winning their opening 2, United drawing and winning their other one. And in the end, this one comes down to, I would say, if Dortmund win it, they're pretty much through the group. And pretty much, I would say, as group winners. Because for United, when they're on the back foot, they don't tend to play that well when we're in this series. We've seen it before. But luckily, they didn't really allow Dortmund into the game. And it took 54 minutes again, quite late into this game, before the first chance presented itself. And it was a simple one again. It was a trademark one from Ben. That is the 3rd time we've seen him do the same move down the left-hand side. You would think that the Dortmund analysts would have looked at that and said to their boys, do not let him get on that left-hand side on his left foot, because that is what happens all the time. For some reason, Dortmund didn't listen to what their coaches had to say, because they did allow Ben, with the time and space, to make his move down the left, and there is Martins profiting from a fantastic cutback across the face of the goal. The first half was stalemate. These 2 sides were very evenly matched, which was kind of a worry considering the fact that we would like to think that this United side could actually win another Champions League. Maybe I'm being too harsh on them, because Dortmund are still a good team, but to say the least, neither side dominated the first half. So to get your chance and take it, it would have to literally be the one and only opportunity. And luckily, United seems to be able to do that at the moment. In the last 5 minutes of the game, It was just one of those games where now Dortmund had to try and come back out, and unfortunately it did end up costing them. We're riding our luck a little bit today, let me say that in this episode, because the shot from Ben finds its way through to Romelu Lukaku. I mean, the luck for the finish is not lucky because the finish is quality. It's just the way the ball falls through to Lukaku. It's blocked by the Dortmund man, straight to the Belgian. One touch, and he smashes it into the top corner to make the score 2-0, sorry. So, yeah, we have been a little bit lucky in today's episode. You kind of create your own luck in football. I always like to think of it that way. But sometimes as well, you just get incredibly lucky. Nice sight as well for Mendy to come back off of the bench here to make an appearance with 3 minutes to go. But ultimately, Dortmund, they lost here at Old Trafford. You can't really say it's a bad result for them because I don't know if they were expecting to come here and maybe get anything. But what that now means is that United top the group with 7 points, Dortmund on 6 in second. And depending on results elsewhere, we are going to be able to see the other two sides and how their game finished in the game, which is right there. It's Lyon. I don't know why I forgot. It is Lyon. Lyon versus Moscow. I don't know if either of these sides really are going to be threatening Dortmund or Man United, but Lyon with that victory still means that they can catch, of course, both clubs. So I think Dortmund still have to play, of course, us again. In fact, every team still has to play each other again. So depending on how the results go, we could be even, kind of moving this around even more. Because United have gone from a draw in game 1 to top in the group now, but by the 6-game mark, they could even be 3rd or 4th. So I don't like Champions League group stages as close as these ones are, because I like to have it where my side is winning all the games, getting at the top spot, 9 points out of a possible 9, 3 points clear of second place, not worried about anything. But these kind of ones, they worry me, because it means if you do slip up, the pressure's then on. So yeah, I to say the least, I'm slightly worried about that aspect of it. But next game was actually West Brom. Ben, he picked up too many yellow cards in the Premier League, was actually suspended for the game against West Brom. Luckily, his replacement who came in, Gribbin, ended up scoring the only goal of the game to beat West Brom and pick United up another 3 points in the Premier League. So, not great sight when your replacement is the man getting the winning goal. Sheffield United as well, again, the Carabao Cup. Ben wasn't picked for it. Mourinho choosing not to risk his superstar, so he decided to play a weaker side. They still won by a goal to 0 as well. So the current holders still in the competition. Next game, though, Newcastle United, the opponent, St James's Park. And these are the games that kind of, as well, I don't like playing. These are the games like, for example, Newcastle, Swansea sometimes can be quite tough. There's loads of sides in this game that I genuinely do not like playing when I'm playing the My Player Career mode, because I don't know what it is. It just feels like the side struggles to create against them. I would happily take Chelsea, Manchester City, Tottenham, these types of games every day of the week over a game like this at Newcastle at St James's Park, because it's so tough. And yes, they may be low down in the league, but they've had 6 draws from their opening 9 games. So Newcastle United pretty much being a draw magnet in this opening kind of campaign, which worried me because I didn't want to see United come here and end up with a single point. A boring 0-0 draw. We don't like those games. We don't want to watch those games. We want games where there's chances and, unbelievable goals, let's call it. So the side for United is that one on the screen. It's a little bit weaker than my liking. They had 2 centre-backs that I wasn't really confident in, O'Brien and Poole. Spellishly, the goalkeeper as well. It was kind of strange to see the weakness that United had at the back. Regardless, though, took 21 minutes, and it was actually Newcastle with the first chance. Armstrong finding Rodrigo, whose shot went wide of the post, and he should have done better with a chance there. It did take a deflection, though, so you can't really count that one out, but from the corner, nothing happening. Ben stealing the ball back. He ends up getting a pass through by Milik, and just take a look at this. Massive fortunate there to be able to get the ball back off the defender, but there's really nothing that you can say other than that was world class. This is how good he is. If that was Messi, Ronaldo, you're talking about this for weeks. But it's not Messi, it's not Ronaldo, it's Ben Wood. He steals the ball back off the defender, keeps his composure, and just look at that. Dinks it over the top of the goalkeeper. You can say that he's got to do better with the initial kind of, save that he makes. It's not that, higher than his arm was, so slightly disappointing goalkeeping from Newcastle's perspective, but overall, you can't really complain. The finish is exquisite from that young man on the screen. So 1-0 up in the game, 37 minutes gone, and I was just kind of relieved to not have a game where we were going in at the break 0-0. But Newcastle, they created another chance, 39 minutes in, close to finding the instant reply. Went over the top of the crossbar, though, and with the last minute to go, Ben found Martins on the right-hand side. He whips a good cross in. Pogba nods it down, flicks it down to Matic, who looks for the top corner, and he cannot find it with his curling effort. But still, that pretty much would end off this game. And Newcastle tried them hardest to get themselves another draw, which would have been their 7th of the campaign so far. Couldn't do it, though. They had a couple of chances, which they missed. On another day, if they'd have taken them, they would have got their 7th draw of the campaign. But the only goal making a difference was that world-class chip by Ben. Quality on the ball. Some interesting results there as well. Arsenal beat Liverpool by 3-1. Leeds actually continuing their good start to this campaign by beating Bournemouth 3-0 away from home. Surprisingly enough, Leeds are in the top 10 at the moment, which is kind of crazy to see. I was not expecting to see them there. But for the final game, we are going to be playing at Old Trafford. And it is going to be Moscow, the opponents here. So the 4th game coming up. We'll see if United can, I guess, improve to, 10 points they'd be on now, and they would hopefully be out of the group stage at that point. Not necessarily as winners, but certainly out of the group stage. Don't know what I was doing here in the little training session. I was just messing about with a bit of skills just to see if I could still do one. There was one in FIFA 17 that I used to do all the time, and it was just an unbelievable skill. And I didn't really use it in this year's FIFA, so I was trying to remember how to do it. And I did it a couple of times, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off in a game yet, so we'll have to see. So, anyways, as I said, 7 points into this victory here will put them on 10. Not a bad way to go after 4 games. That's aside, Lingard. You know what? I haven't seen Jesse Lingard for quite some time, unless I've just never noticed him in the side. But he's in the team today. He starts on the right-hand side for us in this Man United team. Nice to see him back, actually, because you know what? I actually rate Jesse Lingard. I think he's a quality player. Maybe not for starting games, but certainly an impact player. You know, he did it against Chelsea in real life, and I genuinely was quite happy to see him in the side. You know, he's English as well. Hopefully he's got talent. And it was actually him with the first chance of this game. At first I thought he hit the post, but then on second looking, the keeper makes a great one-handed save here to stop Jesse Lingard scoring when he was back in the United side. So, very nearly coming back into the team with a bang. Fantastic save, though, by the Moscow goalkeeper. Moving into the 22nd minute, Ben trying to turn his man, gave the ball away, but luckily there was his teammate to win it straight back. Lingard to Lukaku, Lukaku out wide. Ben uses the little bit of strength that he has. He's not the strongest player in the world, but he holds off his man and ends up giving United the lead inside the 25th minute here. Again, the goalkeeping, though, it's not fantastic. I mean, you can't really complain because, to credit to Ben, he does take this very early. And it can be quite difficult as a goalkeeper to get down low, and you can see it hits him probably not in a great area, and I'm sure he's going to be in some pain after that one. But he goes underneath his legs, and that is the goal that unfortunately put them 1-0 down in the game. I'm sure the keeper will have better days. I'm sure the keeper will be very disappointed with himself, but you can't really complain too much at that. Ben did take it nice and early. He kept it low. It's all you've got to do when you're looking to strike the ball. 68 minutes in. Great work from Ben. Finds his teammate Pogba, and United led by 2. A goal and an assist inside 70 minutes here. He's just taken over this episode. Ben has had a fantastic episode. Capped off as well with that quality finish against Newcastle. How about that? I want your guys' comments in the comment section. What do you guys think of that goal against Newcastle? How good was it? It was unreal. Pogba, though, does just enough to squeeze that goalwards. The keeper can't get near it, and that is United heading on to 10 points for the group stage so far. Hopefully getting himself out. Next episode, we'll have to see if they can get out as group winners rather than just group runners-up. But that's Pogba's first in the Champions League. And you know what's surprising with Paul Pogba? He's got so much quality, but he never seems to be able to do what he did at Juventus. And I'm not just talking about in FIFA, just in general. He was such a good player at Juve, and I'm disappointed to see him not be able to play as good as he is in this series. Like, to have a player of his quality and not see him pop up with more goals here and there, I just want him to hit one, you know, from like 40 yards. Just watch it go into the top bins. That would be sensational. But regardless, anyways, that's how we end today's episode off. Lyon losing against Dortmund by 3-0 keeps Dortmund right on our tracks on 9 points. United on 10 now. Looks as if it's going to be these two guys heading out of the group, Dortmund and United. But who will come out as group winners? That is how we end today's episode. As you can see, 6 points clear of Chelsea after 10 games have been played. Only 2 points drop, which was the draw that we had earlier on. But that is a great start to this season. I'm really looking forward to seeing if United can keep this up. But regardless, that's it from me for today. If you have enjoyed it, a like would be greatly appreciated. As I always say, guys, thank you for your continued support. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, check out the new series on the channel with a story type thing. Anyways, I will catch you all again at 4 PM tomorrow for yet another video. See you all then. Adios.